trying to remember why I had a tab open with the HomePod on it on my computer.
You're thinking about buying one, aren't you?
No. The only appeal for me, the only appeal of the HomePod is Siri. Now, which sounds kind of whatever because it's of the assistants, it's probably the short bus, maybe somewhere around there.
Yep,
I mean,
yep. And with Cortana as the person running behind the bus saying,
Yeah.
wait.
like I would say Google's probably the best. Amazon's probably pretty close up there.
I bet Google and Amazon are
They're both very, very good.
Yeah.
But what we use our assistant for two things? Three?
Oh my God, dude. I'll have to call this a daydream. It's kind of messed up that I spent time thinking about this morning and then laughing to myself.
Makes me nervous. Go on.
But I was reading this thing today where it was like one of those like things you didn't know that Alexa could do kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was imagining was like someday your daughter's going to be on the camera with me and I'm going to say this to her, something to this effect. I'd be like, hey, did you know that you can ask Alexa to make animal sounds, or you can ask her what an emergency sounds like? You should try that right now. Enjoy. And also you too, Brad, you enjoy it too. This is like,
I'm
all
never
I could
letting
think
you
was,
near my kid.
I know. All I could think was like your daughter would go to town on this.
Oh,
and
she
it would
would.
be.
It's like giving a kid a drum set.
Yes, I was going to say I was just sort of imagining in my head if you were young or old enough to even appreciate, like back in the day, there used to be these terrible gifts you could buy children. And so one of them was like a thing you'd kind of wheel it around and it had like a bubble top and little bricks would jump around inside of it. And it made a ton of noise. And it was probably like a play school thing or one of those kinds. So the kid would walk around like they were mowing the lawn and it would be like, pop, 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 pop.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And this is like the modern equivalent, like slowly make your parents insane.
Oh, the other great thing was growing up as a kid, we had, remember rock tumblers?
Yes. So as a kid, rock tumbler between a set of friends of ours, the guys who travel with us, Jeff and Kerry, is now a decades long joke because Kerry's kind of like an artist photographer type and she makes her own jewelry and you know she's always been like this. So at some point we were all in Arizona, so it would have been like the early 90s. We bought Kerry a rock tumbler for Christmas and they came out, you know, up to Phoenix to visit and it's made of plastic. So like if you think about rocks, like you're trying to duplicate the effect of thousands, maybe tens of thousands of years of erosion using plastic, right? So this thing sounds like explode. It's awful. So we actually had like a shed in the backyard. It was so loud. We were like, we're going to have to put it out in the shed. And from in the house, you could hear it out in the shed going pop, 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 like a machine gun fire. And to this day, this is like the biggest joke for all of us. It's like, this is the rock tumbler of, you know, whatever the thing is, like just the worst gift imaginable.
We had, so I need to ask my parents about this because we had one and I distinctly remember it running in the basement.
Oh yeah. You got to put it.
But I only remember owning this thing for about a week.
Oh, really? Oh, this one went back like the
well,
next day.
I suspect that my dad just one day when we were at school was just like took this thing and just threw it out because you're not even kidding. Yeah. It sounded like World War II in the basement. I mean,
you come back like 24 hours later and like what you have is like slightly sharpened stones. Like it does, you know, like it probably takes like a week or more. I don't know how long we got rid of it, but like, just oh God, misguided. Like, you know, best of intentions, right? We were trying to do something for a creative person there, but yeah. No, my thing with your daughter is purely malicious. Like I just
at least you're
this was from the outset meant to do harm. I mean, that's why I was just like laughing to myself at the perfection of this, you know, because you know her face would light up.
Yeah. So I don't know how we got on this nice tangent, but we do three things. One, we turn the lights on and off. My daughter.
You were saying you were looking at the HomePod.
Yeah, and my daughter screams at it and says, the Amazon name, play the Moana soundtrack, and it plays on all the Sonos crap in the house.
Sure.
And occasionally either ask the temperature outside or ask how the traffic is on the drive to work.
Now imagine if her repertoire expanded to include, what does an elephant sound like? What does it sound like? What does a car crash sound like? What is a, like, like apparently you can, I don't know. I mean, I've never tested this, but there was basically, you can ask these kinds of questions and it will actually play that sound.
But so the original reason why I said the only reason I could ever see myself buying a HomePod was we don't need the extensive ecosystem of what Amazon offers. We just need that little thing, which Siri could do. Of course, now it won't work with Sonos and all that stuff, so I'm never going to buy a HomePod. But I could see us, just because then we'd have one assistant across everything, as opposed to like 2 or 3 that we have right now.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah. I don't know. This is, I guess I would just say that kind of falls into that category of, Windows Phone does everything I need. I mean, like I said, there are new capabilities you didn't know about. I mean, the animal sounds thing. I don't know if that works on Siri.
Yeah, I can't imagine why I would splurge and upend the entire.
It must sound awesome over the Sonos.
Yeah,
it sounds like a herd of elephants running through your room.
Yeah, that's. Please don't. That would be so.
It's so, you're so lucky we don't live in the same neighborhood. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the problem is that you see my daughter though a couple times a year, and that's a joke that.
But I gave this one away. Like well, because I thought of it as you were talking, I guess. But I literally was sitting reading the paper because it was like a news story or something, and I just started laughing like out loud, and I'm thinking like, this would see. I mean, if there was any way, like your daughter showed up on a call, like. One of these Skype things, it would just be it would be perfect.
I just imagine you sitting in your kitchen, taking a small sip of coffee, reading the newspaper like it's in the 1960s. Your eyes slowly gaze up and see the picture of my pig on your fridge. You read the headlines, you chuckle to yourself, and then you start your day.
It's a little bit like that, except it happens on an iPad. Because as you know, and no paper makes its way into my house anymore. Everything gets scanned. That's what happens.
Paul's going to die with that scanner.
I'm almost done. I mean, with the big stuff, I mean.
Anyway, speaking of big stuff, I'm actually kind of excited about this one. We'll
really?
see. So this is HP. It wasn't really leaked. I think they intentionally showed it off to a VR-based website. And it's a new mixed reality headset, as you can see here. It doesn't look all that impressive or whatever, but what is impressive is that it's going to offer 2160 by 2160 for each eyeball. Which is a significant, and this is by HP.
Maybe what's the one you have? 1440 by 1440,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's an interim resolution. I think Samsung maybe put one out that might have been 2160 by 1440.
Mm-hmm.
But this would be what, double or is that quadruple? How does that work? Quadruple that or something? I think.
Yeah, let me look it up here. Maybe these are things we should have done before the show.
Sure. Well, but let me just say this: looking at that, and you just got one, so you would know better than I. But that thing has integrated headphones in it. Does the one that you just got? I don't think it does.
No,
right?
it does not.
So does it have like a little audio out cable so you can connect headphones, or how does that work?
I actually have a Bluetooth headset connected to it, or to my PC, which then
it does. Okay. So, but that's complicated, right? Well, I guess if they're earbuddy type things, it's not a big deal. But, like these headphones, trying to get those over that thing would be very difficult, or, it'd just be stupid. Then you go to take it off, you take the wrong one off. And first,
resolution real quick. Oh, there we go. Yeah. The current one is 1440 by 1440. So that's a significant.
The current HP one. Yeah. But there are versions that have slightly higher resolution. Yes. Not HP, but yeah.
And I'll be real curious because the biggest issue with these things is what's called the screen door effect. And if you don't know what that means, go look through a screen door, and then you will know what that effect is exactly like. It's for how far we are along, it's fine, but there's a lot of room for improvement. And I'm curious if the much higher resolution will fix that.
Yeah, it's not like seeing pixels,
right?
But there is a grid effect, and it's kind of hard to describe. But it's like a mesh look. And that's true of the phone-based stuff as well. Yeah.
So that is, I don't know. I'm curious to see, because if it truly makes that better.
But this thing's going to debut at some stupid price. It's going to be like $500 or some stupid thing. It's. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not necessarily going to run out and buy one. I mean, the biggest thing we use it is no joke. My kid comes home from school and says, "Daddy, can I look at planets?" And she will sit down. I'm not even kidding. She will sit down on my computer chair. I'll put this thing on her head. We'll fire up Sandbox, Universal Sandbox, and then we'll look at planets. And it's great. It is what this technology is for.
You've created a Willy Wonka wonderland of technology for your daughter. It's like instead of chocolate, it's like It's just, you can kind of just grab stuff in every corner. There's like so much stuff. It's funny, like to a kid, her brain is so wide open at that age,
Well, she was like, she wanted me to bring it to her school. And she's like, just take the headset in the car with us, Daddy. And I'm like, well, see that large box over there with the whole bunch of RGBs that are conveniently synced and perfectly eloquated? That box is going to come too.
That's going to be her version of I remember black and white TVs,
Yeah.
Remember when like virtual reality or augmented reality or mixed reality, whatever we're going to call this stuff, remember what it used to have to be connected to this giant box,
Mm-hmm.
Tell you this story. I think my daughter had gone across the street. She was probably 5 or 8, whatever years old, and playing down in the basement, and there was a television, like one of the rear projection set. And she asked what it was. And I don't know if it was the father or the mother said, "Oh, that's a television." And she says, "A television?" She goes, "What's all this stuff behind it?" Because she grew up in a world of flat displays.
Let's see here. I don't know, for some reason, like once this has sat for like, I don't know, 2 minutes.
Yeah. It's called Miracast Rot.
Is that what it is? Because that's legitimate.
No, I just invented that, but that's what it should be. I've experienced it.
I can't
for sure.
I can't drag a photo over there. Anyways, but oh well. It was a good effort. They say it was a good effort.
The old college try.
Yeah. Speaking of college try, Skype updated with another feature that was.
I want to try that.
Yeah.
So
can you?
Let me find out. So I'm using the Windows 10 client though. Is that not the one that does it work there?
It's the desktop client, I thought, because it needs full power access to the API.
I think they're getting rid of the desktop client.
Are they?
Well, aren't they?
I
mean, okay. So how would I even? Doing this live is probably the stupidest thing in the world, but
it's not the worst thing you've done.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you have any idea where to find this? I don't. I bet it's not in this version of it. I bet that's how this is going to work.
No, and I can't look at it because the computer that's connected.
I saw that and I thought I got to look at that before the show, and I just zoned on it because it's been so busy today. I don't see it. I bet it's not in this version. I bet you need the desktop client. Makes no sense. I thought they were literally killing. I thought that was literally out of support.
They keep talking about things like that, and
I don't see it. I would love to see that though, and that might make this terrible background that I have slightly less objectionable.
Well, the convenient thing about the color background you have is that it's yellow, which is just about probably the worst color you can pick.
Well, actually, what's interesting about that is it's not yellow. It's just yellow on the camera. It's actually just like a light beige. Like it's not
really?
Yellow. Yeah, it's not yellow at all.
What color are the curtains?
Those are yellow. No, they're brown.
Maybe that something is causing your camera
is causing a shift. It might be my orange skin. Yeah, I don't see it. Unfortunately. I'm going to look into this before tomorrow. I'd like to get that going.
Folks will take bets now on whether or not he actually will. We will find out.
Listen, it took me 6 weeks to figure out those hue lights. What could go wrong?
Well, it also took you how many years to figure out that it was because you were running Skype 7 and that's why you were slightly blurry? On every podcast that you did?
I have a longer history of this kind of problem than I'm willing to discuss at this point, but I have like very specific examples of this kind of thing. So let's just move on.
I just assume that this podcast is actually happening on Windows XP on your end.
It says Windows. I don't know. Which,
there's really not much else going on. The other thing that was announced this morning, Microsoft is rolling out some new features for Teams that are designed at the healthcare industry. There's also some Azure stuff, which granted I started to read and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to write up the Teams stuff because that's actually more fun. But if you're in the healthcare industry, go check it out because there's more Azure features that I'm sure you're just dying to deploy.
Yeah.
Did you get the joke there? Dying healthcare.
Yeah, that's good. That was a soft layup in your part, but yes, I did. Yes.
So, other than that, you got anything else for today?
No, it's striking how little is going on today. It hasn't been a particularly slow week per se, but today, for whatever reason, has been terrible. We didn't get a build last night, right? So that's kind of interesting. No, I mean, there's not much going on. I've got all this stuff. I have like new devices in that some of them I can't quite talk about, but I'll just show you this one because it's kind of cool. So this is like an can't even see it. An Indiegogo campaign thing, but it's So what it is it's a sheath that you put over a MacBook power supply, right?
Oh, I've seen
And then
these.
you plug yeah. So this is a genius idea, and this is it's called the dock case adapter. You can find it on Indiegogo, but $30 for this thing, right? And so it's a little bulkier than your normal power brick, of course. It's probably not quite twice as big. But the way these things are modular, I don't want to pull this off the wrong way, but well, I won't even. You can pull this off and put a cable on the end of it, or you can just plug it right in the wall. But what it does is it supplies an additional USB full-size port and an HDMI output, so it's a dock, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's over on the wall, if it's going to be in a place you're never going to move it, you could connect it to a display and whatever else you might have, and that's fine. But with that longer cable you usually get with the Apple devices, and also other, HP does this too. You could have it kind of midstream on the cable, so it could be up behind your computer, and then you could use the plugs more easily. $30. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, this is. I literally was researching Thunderbolt 3 docks and because the thing comes with 2 ports, whatever. There are different versions that have more ports. There's different versions for MacBook Pros of different kinds because Apple has different size power adapters. But this is like so cheap. I mean, this is amazing. So
yeah,
I'd kind of hope to get the write-up's basically done. It probably won't be today, honestly, but it's just a neat idea. And if you don't want it to use the USB-C for power, or you can't, you could use this as a USB-C cable as well, so you can plug in a device there as well. Nice, and everything still works when it's not plugged in.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the every Surface power brick has that USB port on it, which is incredibly convenient. And
it's not. It's one way, right? So when you plug a phone into that, or a USB hard drive, USB hard drive, you wouldn't plug into it, but it will charge it. But what it doesn't do is go back to the computer. And so the beauty of Thunderbolt 3, well, really the USB-C, but Thunderbolt 3 for the power. For the capabilities, it's a two-way thing. So your power brick, your power adapter becomes a hub. I mean, that's when people like me complain Microsoft is late to the game with this stuff. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like when Microsoft put that additional USB-C port in the power brick, everyone's like, "That's a great," because it's a great idea. It's a nice extra thing. You only have to plug one cable in the wall, and you can charge 2 devices, but the next logical step is make it a 2-way connection. You could plug video into that thing. You could plug external storage. Obviously keyboard, mouse, whatever. It's excellent. It's a good idea.
Yeah, yep. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we're all waiting for Microsoft to adopt.
Adopt.
Whatever. Yes. Pick your favorite word.
Yep.
All right, you done? Hopefully, maybe.
Yes.
All right, folks, so that wraps it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, because tomorrow's Friday. At least it better be, because I'm going to celebrate like it's Friday. Have yourselves a wonderful Thursday, and we'll catch you right back here next time. Wrong button.
Close.